Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. I'm Miss Charlotte, a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyse the astrological charts of public figures, very often celebrities, and today I will be analysing the chart of comedian Matt Rife. So in case you haven't heard, he's in trouble. He released his Netflix special like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. He opened it with a joke about DV, and because majority of his audience, or the audience that made him go viral, were women, it didn't go down too well. And I guess there must have been some kind of exodus of fans. And when it was brought to his attention that there was upset over this joke, he posted a link to special needs helmets as an apology. So just saying he doesn't care what anyone thinks. It probably wasn't the best idea. I mean, he's a comedian. That's what they do, guys. Like, comedians make tasteless jokes all the time. It just probably wasn't a smart joke, and it wasn't a smart move because he does have a female audience. And the fact that he wanted to, or he said, I'm paraphrasing what he said, he wanted to weed out, the false fans of comedy, by making a DV joke. I don't really understand that logic, but here we are. So yeah, you guys want me to have a look at his chart and understand what his psychology is and see if he's got any kind of skeletons in his closet, I guess. That's why we're here. Now, before I dive into his chart, I just want you to know, by the time I put up this video, I will have 48 hours left of my recorded reading 50% off special. So they are 20-minute analysis, like recording of my voice tearing up your chart. You book the time and day in which I complete it, and then within that specified time, within 24 hours of that specified time, I send it to you. It's a little MP3. And if you have a specific issue, if you have a specific question or situation that you want to let me know about so it can inform my reading, just give me a bit more context, you can put that in the notes when you book. So yeah, please hurry up because I'm going to get rid of it in 48 hours. Cheers. And this message was brought to you by our sponsor, me, Miss Charlotte. All right, let's dive into Matt Rife's chart. Taurus rising, so pretty. Ooh, Pluto and Mars. He's got malefics in the same sign as his descendant. Relationships do not look peaceful. And there's squares with his Libra placements with the midheaven. So there's some disgrace. And he does have some skeletons in his closet. What's that? Oh, and he's going through his Saturn return. So he's paying for everything he says. So, guys, if you're born in 1995 and you're feeling stuck and you're having your quarter life crisis, normal. You're exactly where you need to be. People born in that year, they're going through their Saturn return. And they're going through their nodal opposition. You feel stuck. This is the period in your life where you got to look back. So in about a year and a half, you can move forward. The nodal opposition, it's going to last a year and a half. And it's the period around the time of your Saturn return or just before. And it's like when you get that itch and you're like, oh my God, where am I going? Where's my direction? How come I feel so stuck? It's because of this nodal opposition. The North Node shows you where you're going to go in your chart, your North Node, your natal North Node. So when you experience your nodal opposition, when the North Node currently is in the same sign as your South Node, you feel like you're moving through molasses, it's not easy. And then on top of that, the Saturn return, when you have to go through karma and you got to grow up and you got to pay for everything you say, Matt. And his Saturn is currently moving through his 11th house of the public and the network and the internet. So that's where he's getting a lot of this. That's where he's receiving a lot of anger. That's where people are upset with him. So this is going to be an interesting 3 to 6 years, because after it goes through Pisces, it's going to go through the 12th house, and 12th house Saturn transits are not easy. So even after his Saturn return, it's going to go down. This will be difficult. It's when you completely run away from your responsibilities and the rules, and you have to get lost to find yourself. So that is going to be coming up for him. I actually took this snapshot of his chart on the I think a day or two after the release of the Netflix special, and that's when it was the peak of the scandal. So yeah, it happened on the you can look right here. The moon was in Aries, so not easy. It was quite emotional. I know he's acting like he doesn't care. Oh, he does. He wants to be liked. He's so desperate to be liked. So it is hurting him. He will not leave this Saturn return unscathed. And Lilith is moving through Virgo, and Virgos are being mean right now. They're in their villain era. They're being kind of bitchy, more so than usual. And I know you Virgos don't like it when I say that, but listen, I'm not underestimating you. Virgos and Pisces, you guys get underestimated all the time, but when someone is actually estimating you properly, you get upset as well. So, you're not as nice as you think you are, guys. You're more powerful than you want other people to know. You hate being underestimated, but you also hate being estimated properly. Funny people, aren't they? So yeah, nodal opposition, South Node going through Libra, North Node moving through his 12th house. The hidden enemies are going to be coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if ex-girlfriends come forward. I don't necessarily think this is going to be some crazy abuse sex scandal. I don't know if it's going to be like that, but maybe his interactions with women, negative ones, but they might be coming out. The moon in the 12th house intercepted. He has some mommy problems. I'm not saying his mother didn't love him. I'm not saying that he's had some traumatic childhood, but comedians very often do. And the fact that his moon is lying in a squared off sign to his 4th house, his IC lies in Cancer, and there's no planets in there. How come he doesn't have a good home? Or how come home is difficult? Why is he seeking home in the 12th house of secrets and lies and hidden enemies? What is he doing? And it's intercepted. He has he's got a sensitivity chip missing. Or at least he just doesn't like to feel his feelings. And it can be in Aries, he's quite needy for stimuli. It's almost like instead of feeling something, he'd rather play sports or work out or, because I think he is a sensitive person. I don't necessarily think he's a very emotional one. I think he throws himself into activities or sex or some kind of addictive behavior in order to process or numb his feelings. Either one, process or numb them. But yeah, a moon intercepted is a mother that doesn't give a lot of hugs, or it is a mother that is not present. And a moon in the 12th house is a mother that is not happy. And an unhappy mother means it's an unhappy home. Why is the moon, the planet that represents the domestic sphere, why is it in the house of crazy? And he's a comedian. Interesting. His South Node is here. It's not in a conjunction, but it's close by. He's got to leave this 12th house, and he has to move into his 6th house. He has to learn how to exercise and work out and pay his bills. Because the North Node in the 6th house, it's about work and routine and things like that. And explains why he has zhuzhed up. It explains why he decided to get his teeth fixed. He decided to become more appealing. He decided to improve his physical appearance. And North Node in Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty and love. He's quite awkward. It's very, very awkward. With Virgos as well, Virgo men, they're kind of awkward and nerdy at the beginning. And then as they age and as they start to take care of themselves, they really do, they smarten up. They do really look nice. Virgo is the 6th house energy. They are known for being kind of exercise freaks. So it makes a lot of sense. But the fact that he has his South Node near his moon in the 12th house means that he maybe didn't grow up with a lot of structure. His mum didn't give him a lot of structure. Maybe he resents her for that. So he's got to learn to come away from his mother, his crazy mother. I don't know what her issue is, but he's got to leave the nest and learn to take care of himself. The North Node in Libra is also about partnership and learning how to get along with people. So hopefully at some point he offers some kind of apology when he's a little bit older. Like if he can see how it has damaged his reputation and potentially hurt a few people, and he can evolve. Because, he's going to pay for his jokes. He's going to. I think his popularity is going to take a nosedive. He's reached his peak. He's peaking right now. He's quite successful. But in a few years, his jokes might not be that funny. And then they resurface again. And he's going to he might be shamed for it. Give it 3 years. We'll see what happens. And then when Saturn moves through Taurus in 6 years, he'll have to rebuild his reputation, it seems. But yeah, his midheaven lies in Capricorn, the divine patriarch. And then there's Uranus and Neptune here. So he's seen as, he's kind of got this cultish kind of vibe, like a bit of a messiah complex maybe. But with Neptune on the midheaven, it does indicate fame. With Uranus on the midheaven, it does indicate someone that goes viral on the internet or someone that's quite popular. He's very, very popular. He's very, very famous. These are generational placements on the midheaven. That's what it indicates. However, if you look at the squares, remember a square is a war. A square is a disagreement. What's the thing that can get him into trouble? Mercury, the voice in the mind. If he gets too opinionated, it squares off with the midheaven and it causes disgrace. So he needs to watch his mouth, basically. He needs to watch his mouth. I feel like he's going to continue to do comedy, but he's going to branch out a little bit. I think maybe running his own business, going quiet for a little while, would do him well. Having a family, getting married, that might be down the line. I mean, North Node in Libra is partnership. However, he got Mars and Pluto in Scorpio. And he's descendant in Scorpio. He's got 2 malefics here. War, and you got 2 war planets playing out in the 7th house of peaceful partnerships. He might fight a lot. And his Mars is also squared the midheaven, so he needs to be careful where he waves that thing. He needs to be careful of where he throws that phallus. Where he needs to be very careful. Irresponsible sex could get him into trouble. He needs to watch it. And Pluto in the 7th house, the most karma and the most pain and the most transformation in his chart, like it's in the 7th house of partnerships, relationships, like that is where he has the most difficulty in his life. So yeah, that is there. Interesting. I do feel like he's going to get married, though. I wouldn't be surprised if he got divorced. I'm not saying that's going to happen for sure, because I'm not a psychic. But, I mean, Pluto in the 7th house, Mars in the same sign as the descendant, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But Juno and Jupiter are together here, which is quite interesting. Maybe... I feel like he'd marry someone because it makes sense. I don't know if he'd marry someone because he was passionately in love with them. Maybe because they look good on his arm or he looks good on their arm. I think being married to someone who looks the part is going to help his image as well. Venus trine the midheaven. Being pretty works. It's good that he has his Sun and Venus trining the midheaven because, being a creative is something that's going to make him wealthy. But being too opinionated is something that's going to disgrace him. So he's got to tread that fine line between being expressive, being creative, and then being opinionated. It's a very fine line and he needs to watch it. That's why it's good for him to go into other things. I think he needs to diversify. I mean, Capricorn is the CEO. Capricorn can be the boss of themselves. He can climb to the top of the mountain and he can be like, I want to climb another mountain. So I could see that for him. Especially if he goes into his disgrace era, he can do investments. He could probably open a restaurant. He could, I could see him being a real businessman. But yeah, he needs to continue taking care of his health. I think if he was to fall into if he goes into his moon, if he is sexually irresponsible, if he eats too much food, if he gets addicted to anything, it's going to take him away from his 6th house, and he might be unhealthy for a while. It's really hard for 12th houses because they have trouble living in the everyday. His destiny is to learn to master that. Like it's hard having a north and south node on your personal placements. His moon and his Mercury are opposed. So his mind is in one place. His logic, his intellectual nature is in the opposite sign of his moon, which means that he has problems with impulsivity. Because if he's in his Mercury, if you have a moon and Mercury opposition, your mind and your feelings are in 2 different places. You are fractured as a person, and you got to learn how to integrate them into your character in order to just like live with yourself. And for him, I'm just looking at it now. For him, Mercury in Libra is incredibly fair-minded and logical, but a moon in Aries is very impulsive and overly emotional. And in the 12th house, it can go out of control. So he's walking, a very, very difficult tightrope, If he goes into his moon and he acts impulsively and he has sex with loads of people, or he eats a lot of food, or he doesn't exercise for days and days and just smokes pot all day in his basement, he'll get sick. He'll get really, really sick because it's going to affect his 6th house of the everyday. He's not going to be able to work. But if he goes into his Mercury and his north node, he's going to achieve, the thing that he wants to achieve, which is probably earn a lot of money, be very successful. But then he's not going to be very emotionally satisfied with that. It's very stressful in that 6th house, and then he might have to go back into his moon and just do something insane. And if he does that, if he goes too far, he'll get sick again. So it's hard having a north and south node in the same sign as personal placements. He's going to have to learn how to balance that. Yeah, but he does have some secret behaviors. I think he does have a lot of skeletons in his closet, and it's very likely when Saturn moves over Aries that we'll figure that out. He might have a lot of changes around the home and the family when Saturn moves over his moon. Like, he might even have a family. Like, when Saturn moves through the 4th house or Saturn moves through the moon sign, there's going to be lots of changes with the family and the domestic sphere. And sometimes it's painful. Okay. I think he does care what people think. I know his apology sucked, but he really does care. He does. Virgos do. They care about everyone's opinions. The reason why he made that ugly joke is because he wanted to be like one of the bros. He was like, yeah, manosphere, fist pump. Like, he wanted to be the man. Yeah, like, it's funny. Like, assaulting women. It's so funny. Yeah. It's not going to work in the long run. He's going to have to pay for that joke. You're free to say it. You can say it, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to pay for it in other ways, So that is Matt Rife's chart. It's so sad because he's such the Virgo men, they can be so handsome and so together and, so polite, but they can be so messy. And that Aries moon is not well aligned with a Virgo sun. That's what happens when your moon, sun and moon are in an inconjunct, because his internal emotional nature is so far removed from his sun, which is his creative expression and his ego. And because of this north node transit over his moon, I think we saw the angry, hateful part of him, like the macho, insecure part of him. The insecure macho energy, machismo, and he still ended up looking like a bitch. So it's like, ugh. Anyway, that's my Matt Rife's chart. I hope you enjoyed that. So yeah, just a reminder, 50% off my recorded readings, 48 hours left. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll be back soon with some more celebrity chart readings. Bye.